And we are live. So, welcome back, everyone. It's Football Friday here on 305 Takes, and probably wondering, hey, where's Miles? It's usually Angel and Miles both show up at the same time. I am here by myself right now. Miles is taking care of something right now, but Miles will be on the podcast. He's giving me updates um, that he said he'll be here, but if he can, I also said it's all right. So if Miles does happen to show up, I'll bring him into the pod because he's taking care of some stuff right now that's important to him. I'd rather have him take care of that first before this podcast. So that will be the show for today. So most likely, a good amount will be me, but Miles will try to hop on and talk a little bit of football, especially even fantasy football. So before we get started with the podcast today, I do want to thank the sponsor of this podcast, E2G Sports, for being the hands-on team for us at 305 Takes. They help us handle all the behind-the-scenes stuff with this podcast, especially producing it on StreamYard. And for anyone that wants to know a little bit more about sports news, about whether NBA, NFL, MLB, you can go check it out on their website, e2gsports.com, their YouTube channel, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's a lot of platforms where our podcast and other sports news are distributed. So please go, guys, and check them out. So to start off today's podcast, usually with Miles, we will start off with the reviews of the game, but with the hope of Miles being here very shortly, I'm just going to start off with the best bets of the weekend. So, looking at the NFL schedule, there were some bets I like, some that I didn't like. And one that I generally said that caught my eye a bit was the Raiders and the Saints game. And right now, the line itself. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a lot of updates at this moment. And that was Miles. He should be here very shortly. The over, well, the line right now is 49 and a half. And the line itself is Vegas with favored by a point and a half. Now, me personally, I like that bet. I believe the Raiders are much better than what their record says they are because at this moment they are 2-4, and let's be honest, their wins haven't been the most impressive, but their losses have been very, very close. So I do like the Raiders in this game. I would take those for, I would pick them to win. I would say personally, money line bet. This is where I would go. I don't like the spread because the Saints have been in a lot of funny games this year. So I will say the best bet I personally think for this game is money line Raiders. I think that is a bet I believe you can win. I do not like the Saints this year as much. They really haven't shown me anything, and I'm very stressed with their quarterback situation. So I would say personally, I think Moneyline Raiders is a very good bet. I like the way Josh Jacobs has been running the football for the past couple of weekends, and Devontae Adams, him and Derek Carr. I do believe now their connection is going to get a lot better throughout the end of the season. So I do recommend everyone to take Raiders money line. I believe they are a much better team than the Saints. And that will now lead me into my second bet. I'm going to the Texans Titans game. So people might be saying why. I am a fan mostly of the money line on this one. The over under after my Seahawks Cardinals over under, I'm not betting on any of those. I would say if I'm going to take an over bet, it would be college football. But now I'm going to say personally, money line, it will have to be. I really like the Titans in this game. The Texans, I don't like the rushing defense. I really don't. The rushing defense it's not the best, but they're not as bad. But with the way Derrick Henry has been rushing the ball the past couple of weeks, I do feel like there is a very good chance that Derrick Henry can have a monster game, especially after what I saw from Josh Jacobs when he played the Texans. So I think money line, I will take the Titans, even though there is a very, very good chance that one Ryan Tannehill does not play. Right now, he is questionable, but I do believe if Ryan Tannehill does not play, I feel like that is a very, very strong bet to take. I do think the Titans can still win with Malik Willis at quarterback because I love Derrick Henry and in this matchup. So I do believe if any of you want to take it, go right ahead. I feel like this is a surefire bet. I personally love the Titans in this matchup, which will then move the Titans to 5-2. And I would say the Titans are probably one of the quietest 5-2 teams in this league because I just am not a fan of it. But now we'll keep it going in this. And now I'm also going to bring in my co-host Myles, who is loading up everyone. Just give him some time. But I'm gonna go into my Nets bet that I would say I personally like. I am gonna go money line 49ers. I think money wise, I feel like they are the surefire team. I just do not like the Rams this year. I think they're a pretty bad team overall. I just don't like the depth that they have. I love their top half of the roster. I just don't like their bottom half. All right now Miles is currently experiencing some technical issues. Give him a second.
Yo,
Okay, perfect. All right, Miles is back on. You got me?
yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Yep. Football Friday, dog. Let's get after it.
All right. So I was just giving some of my bets of the week. So I said bets that I like. I will take money line on this. I like the Raiders money line, Titans money line, and 49ers money line. I feel like if you were to put those three in like a parlay, I feel like that is a very, very strong bet this weekend considering the matchups that they have.
Mm.
Did you hear that? Okay, Miles is experiencing some technical issues, but he'll be back. I promise. All right, so those were some of my bets of the weekend. And now I could probably tell you guys some bets that I personally did not like. I do not like bets when the point spread is double digits. So Steelers, Eagles, obviously the Eagles are the favorite, and I do think the Eagles will win this game. But right now it's just I don't like the 11 points. I think that's way too much. Um, Another game that has it, the Packers and Bills. I know one time it was at 11 and a half. I don't I'll stay away from that one too. I personally don't think it's that great of a bet. All right. Okay, yeah. Miles just texted me that he's experiencing some technical issues, but he'll be back. So I would say those are personally bets that I would try to stay away from. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I feel like they could be so much better, but I mean if the spread was like 7 on either one, I take the points. I would take the points. I feel like 7 is a very good bet to take. All right, we got Miles back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad I got in here for the best bet segment because this is one I actually wanted to talk about. I'm in love with Falcons -4.
Falcons -4?
I'm in love with it, but I just don't. It seems like such a trap game. It seems like such a trap game, and it opened, I believe, at 6 or 6.5.
Yeah, it went all the way down to 4.
Down to 4, and I'm like, I mean, are the Panthers not trying to lose?
I don't
Like, I
know.
get they won last week, but like, isn't their whole like point now like to get the best draft pick? I get that they
Yeah.
beat the Bucks. I do get that, but like, we had Atlanta was 6-0 against the spread until like a couple weeks ago, I think. And
Yeah, they didn't have.
I just don't know about Atlanta now being the favorite because yeah, they were 6-0 against the spread because they were getting points, so they were
Yeah.
able to not win the game, but they were able to cover the spread. Now they have to win the game and cover, so that's my only thing that's giving me concern. But I love Falcons -4, honestly, and at home.
No, I get that, but for this week, I'm just not a fan of some of the points. I don't like the point
Yeah, the
spread in
spreads I
Bears.
don't like.
Bears, Cowboys, 10 points. I'm not a fan of that. Who else had it? Oh, Steelers, Eagles. It's an 11 points, and same with now Packers Bills. It was 11 and a
Dude.
half at one point, and now it's
I
at
mean,
11.
bro, Rodgers getting that many points is insane. No.
And I was like, we do have to respect it. I don't like it when points are that so far off because I'm like, we do have to give credit to the other teams because they are professional football teams for a reason.
Yeah, but it's like all right. Remember we were talking about Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and we were like, oh, the
Yeah.
point spread of
And then
14 is too
Buffalo
much.
just beat the
Dude, the
brakes off.
first play, I was like, yo, the point spread should have been like 114 after that 98-yard pass to Gabe Davis. But I mean, I get that the Bills are really good and they're like a buzzsaw, but Brady getting that, I mean, Rodgers getting that many points, I mean, I feel like that's like once in a lifetime.
Yeah. Because I don't like the spread. That's why I advise most people. I take money lines personally this week. I just don't like most of the spreads. I feel like money line is a very safe way to at least, win a couple of bets.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about the points, and that's one of the best bets for me this weekend. I love Dolphins money line. I don't know if the it's the only reason I don't like the number is because of the hook.
Three and a
If it was
half.
just straight three, yeah, if it was just straight three, I would take the three and whatever. If they only went by a field goal, which I don't expect to happen, then whatever. It's just a push. But the 3.5, I don't want to lose the bet over the half point. But I just don't think that Detroit can match up with what the Dolphins have as far as speed.
Yeah. I mean, now probably with Amon-Ra St. Brown probably most likely going to miss the game. DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's supposed to be back this week, so at least there will be that in terms of their offense, but still I'm
Yeah,
not a
and
fan of them without Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's a great point that you brought up, because I feel like the way to attack this Dolphins defense is by throwing the ball, especially now with the corners being as weak as they are, and losing your
Mhm.
best receiving option isn't probably the best help to go ahead and pull off that upset. And honestly, with all the hype that they had going into the regular season, I feel like after the Hard Knock stuff, it's all died down. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like the Lions are back to being the Lions, even though it was cool for a little bit, and we all like Dan Campbell. He's a man's a coach, but I just feel like they just still don't have enough. They just still don't have enough, and
Yeah.
especially that secondary. I think it's going to be a big day for Waddle and Hill. And now that the Dolphins or now that Tua's especially 2 weeks removed from being back and being able to start, I think they'll take some of the training wheels off this week and have him actually moving out of the pocket and not just try to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible.
Probably the only thing I just don't like about this whole I like the Lions offense. I'm just not a fan of their defense. I don't know who can they stop. That's my only issue with that team.
Yeah.
Because I believe they can score with any team. I just don't know if they can stop anyone from scoring.
And then the other thing is, it's like, all right, even if the defense gets to stop, I mean, how many more drives until Jared Goff throws a pick six or fumbles and it's returned for a touchdown? That's always the other thing with them. And we saw him. I mean, he's had some pretty bad games in his career, but one of the worst games he's ever had was when he was still with the Rams and they came down here to Miami, and
It was
Miami just
bad.
beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah, it was bad, but that's a good transition now. So that way we can at least talk Dolphins Lions preview. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Dolphins are on the road. They're going to Detroit. And like Miles said, the line is right now 3.5. Miami is currently the favorite, and I believe they should be because on paper Miami does have a much better team. But this is a matchup I feel that is good for the Dolphins, especially at this moment. Like Miles said, Tua is now coming back from concussion. It'll be 2 weeks, and I believe with the way how the Lions defense is, I think this is a good matchup for Tua to really get his rhythm back, get his timing right with the receivers. I feel like this is good. I expect more of a big day from Hill than Waddle because I think Hill will probably get more favorable matchups considering if Mike McDaniels schemes it up well. And if not, I think Mike Gesicki could probably have a big game. I like his matchup against the linebackers of this because I feel like with his size, I feel like Tua can live with throwing up I would say a pass that's more of a lob for Mike Gesicki to go and snag. I feel like he can have a big day with this.
Yeah, and especially like when you're taking fantasy into consideration, because I do expect the Dolphins just to be able to move the ball up and down, regardless if it's through the air or on the ground. I think Mostert is going to have another big game, especially after what we saw in the first half of that Pittsburgh game. But for me, I think, yeah, Gesicki's a good shout out by you because I do think that the Dolphins are going to have multiple trips into the red zone. And Gesicki, that's where he's most valuable is as a red zone target. And, he can win those one-on-one 50-50 balls if you throw it up to him. And we saw Tua went to him last week on a little slant when they got into the red zone, which is unfortunately bounced right off his face mask. But, if he can just haul that in, he could be a good play fantasy-wise. And another angle for this game, especially for betting, I'm trying to get in on Dolphins over 27.5 points for their team total. I like it. Even if it gets to 28, I still like it. As long as it's not, you have to score more than 4 touchdowns. Even if, all right, we get to just 4 touchdowns, I think there's a pretty good chance because I'm pretty down on this Lions team, and especially after they come off the bye last week against Dallas, and I thought there was potential for them to at least cover the spread and maybe even potential for them to win the game outright, and for them to not even be close in that game, I think proves well for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's definitely something I was not looking forward to because I was on the same page with you. I thought the Lions Cowboys would be such a good game, but it was so bad. So
Yeah, and especially because you're like, all right, this might be the time to get the Cowboys because Dak's just coming back. So, like, you'd never know exactly what his status was really going to be until you actually saw the game being played, and they stood absolutely no chance.
and history has shown us that Dallas usually loses those games when it's they're the sure on favorites. They lose. So I'm like, all right, Dallas. I don't like the matchup for them, but hey, their defense prevailed on that one. But overall, I feel like this could be a solid game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a great game. I feel like it could be solid. That's my only thing with this game because I don't see too much firepower.
I think it could. I think it has the potential to get a little bit up and down, especially if the Dolphins can start off as hot as they did in the first half and the first couple of drives that they showed against Pittsburgh. If they can do that and actually capitalize for touchdowns and not settling for field goals, I could see this game getting a lot more up and down with the lines just going into, we're trying to keep this game as close as possible, and we'll just drop back with Jared Goff as many times.
I mean, if that happens, it'll probably be a good day for
because the high total 51.5 for the total for the over under. That's pretty high. I mean, but we did see, what was the final score of that Detroit Seattle game? 48-45.
Yeah.
So that is, I don't know if it'll get that crazy. I mean, because that's one of the highest scoring games we'll probably have all season, and probably over the last couple of seasons for a regular regulation game to go into that high of a scoring total is pretty crazy. But I mean, I could see it being, 30-17, and you're almost at the point total there.
I was probably going to give it like 31-14.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Lions are going to end up scoring, honestly, especially with no Amon-Ra and with Swift just having a weird season as per usual, honestly.
Yeah, though. I mean, he's great on the field. When he's on the field, you're going to get out of him.
And he's super talented. Like even if you don't watch NFL day in and day out, you see the guy and you're like, why doesn't he get the ball more? What are they doing over there?
And it's like you find out it's because he's always injured, and it's like, okay, that explains it. So I mean, I feel like they can get at least 2 touchdowns. I feel like the Lions can do that because I do feel like they had some skill players to get them to the red zone. It would only be just capitalizing at that moment. But I don't like their matchup against the Dolphins secondary. I understand maybe some guys might be coming back for the Dolphins. Still not 100% sure, but we'll see about that. I mean, hey, but this has a chance to be a very solid game. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best game, but it could definitely be solid.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Now, I think it has a lot of potential, and even in the red zone, I think they'll be switching to this back and forth a lot.
I mean, if they do, hey, it's good for all of us. But I do want to give a quick trains of thoughts on last night's game between the Ravens and the Bucks. And so for anyone that last night the Ravens kind of they started off slow.
Super slow. Greg Roman was taking a nap the whole first half.
Yeah, but then second half they
dominated, bro. Yeah, bro, for over 200 yards in the second half. That's insane.
Yeah,
what happened to this Bucks defense? What happened to Devin White is the biggest question. Has anybody fallen off more since that Super Bowl than Devin White? Holy.
Just the Bucks. Sheesh. What happened to the Bucks? The Bucks were a powerhouse. And we were like going into this year, I was like, hey, they could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
And like, why wouldn't you think that? They're running it basically back with everybody except Gronk. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, it's Brady. He'll figure out another tight end. Like, it's Brady.
And then next thing you know, they're 3-5.
Yeah. And Brady looks like he is having absolutely zero fun out there. Like, he
Bro.
is so frustrated. He's screaming
Yeah.
at everything. And like the whole team seems tense. Like at the end of the fourth, when they were trying to make it a little bit respectable, Leonard Fournette gets that false start on the fourth down when they're going for it. And it's like, it just seems like the whole team's nervous. Like, they all know, like, oh, Brady's gonna rip us a new one, and like, we're trying to be too perfect that we make mistakes.
Yeah. I feel like now this is when Brady really misses the Patriots, because the Patriots were such a strict football team, because the Patriots barely made any mistakes in terms of penalties. They barely make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And
And
now
you're not running for 200 yards and a half on Belichick. That's
never.
something that's not happening. Never.
If that were to happen, I would be like, oh my God, did we just find
He
out the
might retire.
recipe?
He might
Yeah.
retire at the half. At the end of that half, if you run for 200, all right, you got me. It's time. It's time.
I mean, the only time I've ever seen Belichick look bad in terms of coaching was that playoff game against Buffalo. Outside of that, I've never seen his team not be prepared.
It's just, and the only other time I can even think of is he made the mistake of putting Gronk at the back of the Kenyon Drake lateral play
Yep,
against
the
the
Miami
Dolphins.
Miracle.
If he would have had a safety or somebody that actually tackles people, then okay, they might not even win that game. But Gronk took the worst route and fell down. So that's the only time I can, in a long storied career of a coach, that I can really remember a big slip up on his resume. But I mean, Tampa, I don't even know what you say at this point. Like, they don't even look like a team that is just 2 years removed from a championship. Like, they have absolutely no, like, they
No one's playing
just
good at all.
and-
There's not even a
and-
silver lining.
and it just looks like they have no punch. Like, they're just getting punched in the face and there's no answer back. And even you don't expect that from Brady. And it's like, what happened? Like, that Rams game, you guys had a shot to come back and you would have been in the NFC Championship game again.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Like, is it really that big of a deal to go from Bruce Arians to Todd Bowles?
Either that, or maybe Bruce Arians was that big of a factor in terms of that locker room. Because
Is it more Bruce Arians having some control over the offense still, to now it's Byron Leftwich's show? It could be an influence of both, but I mean, the whole team just looks bad. And you even get Julio back last night, and it's still like, all right, like, cool, but like, is that really doing anything for me?
Yeah. And then I hate to keep beating it down, but Brady just says, bro, like, he has not played good. Through 8 games, only 9 touchdown passes.
And they put up the graphic that this was the lowest amount of points that they scored through this amount of weeks since he's gotten to Tampa, and that this is his lowest amount of points through this amount of weeks since like 2003, like when one of his first years as a starter in the NFL.
And that's when they ran the football.
And that's when he was like more game manager. Like, they still didn't fully unlock Brady. And I personally had the over in the game, and I won on that touchdown at the end. And I was like, I don't know how I won the over when literally 0 points were scored in the second quarter. 0 points were scored in that second quarter. And then it's like, all right, so we get that false start on Lenny, and then we kick it off to them. First play from scrimmage after we kick it off to him, it's like a 48-yard run by Kenyon Drake. It's like, you guys have no pride. Like, you guys have no. I literally thought it was a situation where they were like, let him score so we can get the ball back one more time. That's what I thought it was, because the guy was running away from everybody.
Yeah, that's what was kind of crazy. And then the only bad part about the Ravens, they did eventually lose Gus Edwards. They did lose Mark Andrews. The only silver lining, Marlon Humphrey did come back in the game for them, so at least there's that. But still,
and Likely stepped up in the absence of Andrew, and he's good, bro. And he got the onside kick at the end of the game to seal it. That was a cool game from a rookie and from Coastal Carolina, man. Well, who would have thought?
That touchdown catch was nice.
Nice. The footwork on that was crazy, and that's your backup tight end. That's your backup. And it's what the Ravens have wanted to do. I mean, they drafted Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews in the same exact year.
And Hayden Hurst was the first round pick, so they expected more. And then notice Mark Andrews came along, and I don't think they could be mad about that.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, if they could get both of them on the field and put the game plan around those two, I feel like now it would actually open up the offense way more, because now it's not strictly, okay, let's double team Andrews. Everyone else single coverage. Now it's like, all right, we do have to give some respect to Likely. So I would like to see that from the Ravens, but I was happy for Lamar because Lamar looked like he got his rhythm back going into in the second half.
And I was just happy for them as a team and in general that they didn't try to choke this one away. Because, they're very close. Like, if they just hang on to these games from being undefeated.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
the
they're
Dolphins game, they
undefeated.
shouldn't have lost. The Giants game, they shouldn't have lost. Like,
The Dolphins game they shouldn't have lost.
yeah, 100%. That should have been a W, and they should be 6-2 right now at minimum. And 7-1 if you take that Giants game off. I mean, it's just they still do some dumb stuff. I don't know what that fourth down play was that they went to near the red zone. It's like you have the best running quarterback in the world, and you just like, all right, don't use it.
I feel like they
Don't
just
need that
want to prove, like with Lamar, he can throw the football. I get that. Like I understand you want to prove the narrative wrong, but still, like he has a skill set. Use it.
Use it, yeah. At least utilize it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
make it a rollout where the linebackers have to bite or the safeties have to come up, and then you go for that end zone shot.
Yeah.
You know, but to not use it at all, just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Because I want to know who on the defense strictly yesterday was going to be able to catch Lamar if he started running. I generally would like to know.
Yeah.
Because basically, 3/4 of their secondary was injured and didn't play.
And it didn't look like they wanted to run tackle at all. Their run defense was MIA, not seen in action yesterday at all.
So, man, they just have such a weird season so far. But credit to the Ravens, they did win the game. But the biggest picture now is Tom Brady in that offense. Because yesterday, well, it was officially announced today that Tom Brady and Giselle got his divorce, and I feel like that has played a bit of a distraction to him.
I mean, it had to for him to post it on his own the day after losing. I know that one hurts. And you can't tell me that the Antonio Brown stuff isn't getting to him,
bro. I've sent you some stuff of what AB has posted, bro. He just keeps taking shot after shot.
He is wild,
bro. Like, one of the T-shirts just saying all proceeds will go to fatherless children in America. I was like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's like, dude, you really had this guy stay with you, and this is how he's doing it. You won this guy a Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah, and he keeps talking about Brady's wife, like just putting
like it's a normal guy, like it's a normal human being he's talking to, like it's some guy he just has beef with on the internet. No, that just happens to be Tom Brady that you're beefing with on the internet. It's honestly crazy, and like I just wonder with Brady, like what he actually is thinking.
Yeah,
like, is he enjoying his life right now? Like it seems impossible for you to be Tom Brady and not enjoying life, but like
exactly
at this point, like for who are you playing football for? Like, bro, we already know you're the GOAT. I've seen you in so many Super Bowls, it's hard to remember how many.
Yeah.
I think 9, 6 and 9. 6 and 10.
No,
that's
7.
Crazy.
He has 7 rings and 3 losses. Yeah. The 2 Giants losses and the Eagles.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy. So like for who? And it's like you had the moment last year. Your last touchdown pass was over Jalen Ramsey. Like what else could you have wanted, brother? What else could you have wanted? You won the Super Bowl after leaving Belichick. You won another one. You won one for AB. You won one for Gronk. Yeah. I mean, I know Gronk already had some, but you won another one with him in Tampa. Like you recreated the blueprint. Okay, you came up short last year. Call it quits, fam. I know you wanted to come to Miami, but it didn't work out.
It didn't work out, and then, bro, like the way how it's like, this
is sad to see. Like this is like Emmitt Smith on the Cardinals, or like Patrick Ewing on the Supersonics. Like this is just stuff you forget about. Like you try to erase from your memory.
No, I'm just gonna go even deeper. To me, this is like Dwayne Wade on the Cavs.
Yeah. It's not how I wanted to see, and for me, it's crazy because I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'd never really liked him the whole time he was in New England. Like it took me until really he got to Tampa Bay and then didn't win the division, went on the road for all those playoff games, and then still won the Super Bowl. I was like, all right, I mean, what can you really say about this guy? He's done everything. He's beyond life at this point.
Yeah, and football. He's like you said, what hasn't he accomplished? It's like, bro, what haven't you done? But I'm just gonna say this: clearly football is as important to Tom Brady as more than anything. So you do
I mean,
you
it's clearly more important than
than
anything
family.
I currently have going on. Because
Yeah.
for me, my whole philosophy would be for who, for what, and I already signed a $300 million broadcasting deal that is literally waiting for me just to walk away and walk right into.
You'll still be around the game of football, and everyone will be waiting to hear what you have to say.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
But
I truly don't get it.
I mean, hey, we'll never know. But we cannot say that has not been a distraction to Brady, and I'm pretty sure this whole Bucks team, it's just been it hasn't been good so far. If they do make the right now, if the season were to end today, they would be playing a playoff game against the Giants. And as much as I hate to say this for Brady, I'm like, Brady, I don't think you win.
I
I
mean,
would
not if
actually,
your team's going to give up 200 yards rushing,
yeah,
and
like
that's with Saquon coming.
and Daniel Jones, because I was like, the Giants can actually run the football, and your
And
defense,
that's all they want to do too. Like
yeah,
that's all they want to
your
do.
defense can't stop the run, and the Giants defense actually has played better than what I thought they would.
And it's like, all right, well, the Giants have Richie James as their leading receiver, but it's like, who's in the secondary for Tampa? Like, Richie
Exactly.
James might be a corner for Tampa as for all I know, and
Yeah.
what this really reminds me of? This has all the feelings of last year's Brooklyn Nets team. That's what it reminds me of. You have I mean, if AB was actually on the team,
Yeah.
then it would make sense. But
Yeah.
he was last year's Kyrie, but you got this crazy guy that you never know what's going to happen. That's AB. And then you got Tom Brady and Durant, where it's like, all right, we understand that you're great, but like you also have these like really weird quirks, and like we don't know if we like you sometimes because you're kind of just odd. So it's
Yeah.
like,
But
what's
also,
going on
Kevin
here?
didn't make that many mistakes during the regular season. Thomas just keeps making mistakes. Like,
Yeah,
bro, some of those throws he threw yesterday, I was like, who are you throwing to? That's where it was just the whole thing for me. Because, man, bro, that's I get it, Tom. Like, but this year, I would just like say at this point right now, it's just not your year. Who knows? Maybe it changes throughout the second half of the season.
bro,
Maybe
he lost to the Panthers.
and the Steelers.
But I feel like because he lost to an XFL quarterback. I mean, but he did lose to Trubisky at the end of that Steelers game.
Trubisky.
Oh god, oh god,
And he lost to a Ravens team that lost didn't have Rashad Bateman. Deshaun Jackson wasn't active. Mark Andrews left the game. Gus Edwards left the game. No J.K. Dobbins. You lost to a bunch of backups that Lamar was playing with.
Yeah, on short rest too. And they have a game in Germany this year. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if like either A, he doesn't fly to the game, or B, he just never comes back from Germany.
Yeah.
Like I just
They're
don't know
playing, I
what to
think they
expect from
play
this guy.
Seattle. And
Yeah, that's actually a good game.
I give Seattle a really good shot to win that game. I give them a real good shot.
That's way better than the London game that the London fans are getting this week, which is Jaguars Broncos.
Yeah, I don't need to be high-kneeing my way to watch that game. So.
What a dork.
No.
What a dork, man.
Before we get to our next topic, I do want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, E2G Sports. As I mentioned in the beginning, they are the current sponsor of this podcast of 305 Takes. They help us handle all the behind-the-scenes stuff, from posting this on StreamYard to the platforms Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, the list goes on. And if you guys do want to get more about any other sport, like maybe baseball, the World Series starts tonight. So if any of you want to read some stuff about that or watch some of it, there's some videos on it on YouTube from the podcast, or you can go read it on their website, e2gsports.com. We want to thank them so much for helping us with the podcast. And now we can go on to our next topic, which is going to be a fantasy football update for you guys. We're just going to do a quick one because yesterday some news broke that two big things. Kadarius Toney was traded to the Chiefs. I actually thought that was a win-win trade for both sides. I actually liked it one of the few times. And then Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks. And the first thing I texted Myles yesterday, I was like, man, there's one guy in our league. He just, like, when I say bad things have just piled on, bro, it is piling on for him.
Dude, and you know what's even worse in the other league that we're in? That
He
me and
only
him
has one
face up.
loss, and it's to you.
And he lost Brees Hall in that league.
Oh man,
Dude, so and he literally so that's in sleeper. So every time somebody makes a roster move, you get a notification, and he put a sad face after this notification of him dropping Brees Hall went out. Yeah, so Moyes just really had the fantasy season from hell. I honestly, truly do feel bad for him because it's been a tough ride for him, and that Chase news is
that
big.
hurt.
That's big news. And the Bengals, I had mentioned it. I thought that game winning touchdown he had against New Orleans might be the start, the jump start for them turning around their season and going on a run. And when you look at the AFC, it's kind of really suspect. I know that we all like the Bills and we all really like the Chiefs as well still, and we saw them really start to put it together offensively this last week against San Francisco. But outside of that, it's like, all right, who is like the third best team in the AFC? And you're like, why isn't it the Bengals?
And now we know why. But to give anyone an update, how we talked about Moises, a very good friend of the show, I'm going to read all of you his roster because he actually has a very good roster. Quarterback Kyler Murray, that is a good one. Running back Leonard Fournette, Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gabe Davis, Mark Andrews, Damian Pierce, Bills defense, Ryan Scoop, kicker for the Buccaneers, and a punter for Pittsburgh. Yes, we have punters in this league. And then his bench, obviously, he made the move yesterday. Jamar Chase is on the bench. Cortland Sutton, Tony Pollard, Buccaneers defense, Melvin Gordon, and Terry McLaurin. He has a very, very good team. And the only thing with him is that he had bad luck because he faced like the highest scoring team like 4 out of 5 weeks. So like it wasn't his fault. But I was like, man, this just tells me if next year we played, bro, Moises is gonna come on like a tear.
I mean, if there's any karma, I mean, I feel bad for the kid. I want him to. Because
what did he do?
Literally, that's what I was gonna say. I want him to actually enjoy the fantasy season. I feel like it's just literally beating the heck up, like beating him up. Like that's not what we joined this for. But I mean, at least he still has the sleeper league that we're in, where there's only one loss. But I want to know what you think about this trade. So in my one league, this was the league that I had Kelsey and Goddard. And I traded Goddard and somebody else for Jalen Waller. So I only have Kelsey left, right? But Kelsey's on the bye this week. So I used the Chase news for leverage for myself, and I traded Boyd for Taysom Hill for just a week so I could get a tight end. What do you think?
I like the move, but I wouldn't say it's the best move. Personally, I would have gone after like Hayden Hurst. Because I feel like
I only need it for the week. That's the
you only need it for the week.
Yeah.
But I love Tyler Boyd now going into these next 6 weeks.
And he had 100 yards too.
That's my only thing with that.
So, because my other two options to trade were Michael Carter from the Jets and Tony Pollard. But I felt like those were both too overpriced to give up for just a tight end for the week. So I figured I settled on Boyd because I think like week 3 or 4, somebody had dropped him and he was available on waivers, and I used my waiver claim. So I feel like it's not a waste of a waiver claim. I ended up getting something that I need and as far as position value goes.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing the Raiders. The Raiders aren't the best on defense. I do feel like the Raiders are the better team.
Well, I honestly was just hoping that with the fact that Andy Dalton did throw 2 pick sixes in the first half last week,
they give Taysom Hill more snaps.
Yeah, that's the optimism in me, taking over, because I was like, can they really just run it back with?
Because if that does happen, you won the trade for the week. Like it's not even close.
Yeah, so if I could just get them in, some more wildcat situations and stuff like that, that would help out the trade. And whatever, he sits the bench the rest of the time when I have Kelsey back. Or I flip them again.
That is very true. Oh man, that's
because. But this is the week. This was the week talking about fantasy. I think this is the week where it's like, God, Lee, I just lost to Derrick Henry again for the fourth year in a row. He puts up 232 yards, and there's just absolutely nothing my team can do to answer that, because the Texans give up yards to absolutely every stinking body. Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns and I think 148 yards last week on them, and that's with a soft offensive line. and the Tennessee Titans just want to play bully ball and run the ball down your throat because Tannehill's been out all week. That's a bet that I'm on. I'm going to take Henry over rushing yards. I'm going to play it up. I'm going to take him like over 150 at plus money as well. I think I honestly don't think that the Texans want. I mean, I don't think the Titans are going to want to throw the ball at all.
Yeah. And the worst part, that's who Moises plays against this week. He plays against Derrick Henry.
Oh my God, the season from hell continues. Who's having least fun right now, Brady or Moises?
Honestly, I hate to say this because I'm really cool with him, bro. Ryan is probably on that same boat too. Ryan is 1-6.
Yeah.
Like,
it hasn't been. It's no holds barred in our fantasy league, honestly.
yeah, but
No place for the weak.
I mean, that's the thing, and I do want to give a fun fact for anyone. Fantasy football update: the person I'm playing this week is the person I played in the championship match in Myles' league last year. I'm playing my good friend Peter Romeo, and I'll just read this. Yesterday, he texted me during the game.
Oh, the smack talk is gone?
He just texted me this. You're getting so lucky in fantasy. Debo is out, but I'm still going to beat you. And I was like, okay, love the trash talk. And I just said, you finally have a chance to get payback. Don't blow it. And he says, I'm not worried. My team got me. And I was like, we'll see. May the best team win. And he was like, yeah, thanks, I will. And I'm like, all right.
Damn, it's already started. Did you guys have anybody play yesterday? I haven't checked.
I did. I had 3
You
guys.
had Lamar, no?
Lamar, Chris Godwin, and Tucker. What makes
Godwin
me mad was
got
that
a bunch of
61 yard.
Oh, the block.
If I could have just got those 6 points, I would have got an extra 6 points, and then I would have 49 points going into Sunday.
Yeah, with the rest of your guys still to play. But Godwin had a good game. I know he didn't get it to the end zone.
13
he had like
points.
6 catches. No, yeah. So and Lamar, no turnovers. Couldn't be mad at it. Would have liked some more overall yards, but as long as he didn't get any negatives on the.
He hit the projected on what he was projected to hit. So
honestly,
no, Lamar hit his projection. It was supposed to be like 21.3. He got 21.8. So I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Got more than what he was projected to, so I'm not mad. Lamar, you did your thing. If I lose this week, I know it's not because of Lamar.
Fantasy is such a grind, bro. It's such a grind. Yo, shout out us and E2G though. Another dub. And Mike Evans started off the week. Dude, our team snapped yesterday. Devin White had a bunch of tackles. Yep. Levante had a bunch of tackles.
Vita Vea got us 4 solid points.
He got a sack in the game. Yeah, Evans was snapping. The only thing that sucks is that our J.C. Jackson pick just. Dude,
yeah, that one kind of went down, but we did draft heavy on corners. So.
Yeah, we're good on corners. We needed. I scooped a safety for us for this week because Derwin's on the bye, so I couldn't continue the Florida theme. I just got the guy with the highest projected, the highest projected points for. Yeah, whatever.
Man, I hope no one calls us out on that.
I mean, bro. I mean, we've been doing the Saints quarterback, and Dalton's been the quarterback. So, like, whatever. We tried. We tried our absolute. And J.C. Jackson didn't really count either.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to do good because I was like, man, like, considering the points, how they had it, like, saying you earn points for this, earn points for that. I was like, J.C. Jackson fills out all these categories. Like, why wouldn't I pick him? And he played high school football here. So I was like, perfect. This is it.
Honestly, the flex is the linebackers, bro, because we have like, I can't remember which one of our linebackers, but he averages like 7 to 9 points a game, and he's like the 40th ranked guy at his position.
Yeah,
what?
Is it Devondre?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's probably Devondre Campbell, but that's the whole thing about guys with fantasy football. Because I mean, man, it's a grind, like Myles said.
Especially that league. I'm just so happy we're not in last, dude. Like that's literally my biggest source of accomplishment is that we're not even close to last.
We're respectable 3 and 4.
Dude, because when we first came up with the idea of the Florida thing, I was like, all right, this would be cute. And then I was like, dude, it's gonna be mad hard. And then we did that draft, and I was like, yo, this is intense. This is intense right now. But we've been pushing through. We're honestly, I would compare us to the Steelers. sometimes you don't know how it gets done, but the job
We
is
get it
getting
done.
done.
We get it done. But that's the whole thing. And then the one thing I will say this for anyone who is new to it and the league, to go back to what we were currently talking about before, Myles right now is projected to finish in first as of the moment.
Yeah,
Let me
but I
see.
hate the ESPN projections.
Yeah, they're.
Just that final standing one, I can't stand. I like to use the. I
Oh
like
no,
them
my
when they.
bad. You're in second. Alex is
Alex is
still
in
in
first.
first.
Golly,
Alex is still in
golly.
first. JP went all the way up to third now, and I'm on fourth. Peter's at five. Uh, Ed is at six. Seven is Dom. Eight is Moy. Nine is Nick, and 10 is Ryan.
Wow, Moy not projected to come in last. That's honestly huge, with the way his season's going. I like when you can when you're looking at like the standings and you can scroll the screen over to the right and it says playoff chances.
Yeah,
That's my favorite to look at. I'm at 99 in this league, but that's because we have the two divisions.
yeah, two divisions, and then I mean you're 6-1, so I mean you're
Yeah,
sitting
unless I
good.
choke it up.
Yeah, the
I don't even I don't even want to play a defense this week.
yeah
I
I
scooped
know
up the Jags because I'm like, all right.
you had to. I mean we'll see, but you have a solid team. You have a very good team. Okay, Miles is a bit frozen on this one. Oh wait, is he back? All right, so we'll take care of some of those tech issues again from Miles. Well, don't worry, guys. But I will say this: one person on his team, it kind of scares me just with the matchup. It's only James Robinson. Outside that, that's the only person I think on Miles' lineup that I'm scared with for this week because I feel Michael Carter's going to get more of the carries, but that's just my personal viewpoint on it. But overall, I think he has a very good team. I think he has a very good team. Joe Burrow, Kenneth Walker, James Robinson, Cooper Cup obviously is coming back this week for him, so that helps. Tyreek Hill, George Kittle, Ayuk, Jags defense, Buffalo's kicker, New England's punter, and his bench is actually pretty good. He has Goddard. I like. Man, I would love to get a tight end from Miles, but I don't know if he'll trade me from the. But uh that was the fantasy news of the weekend. To end it, I'm just gonna name some games for you guys to watch this week. In terms of football, maybe you guys will like some of them. Uh, One game I'm interested in. I feel like it could be a very good game. I say Cardinals Vikings. I think that could be a very good game. The Vikings are known for kind of starting fast but finishing slow, where it's vice versa with the Cardinals. They start slow, finish fast. So we'll see. I think that could be a very good game for people to watch. And this one, I actually kind of like this one now. I'm gonna watch it just because I feel like there's a good connection here. I'm gonna say Giants Seahawks. I feel like that could be one of the games a week to watch. So if anything, that will be our show for the day because there's really not much in terms of football matchups I like. But guys, I want to thank you so much for the show. I do want to thank Miles for hopping on the show for a little bit of tech issues that he had. But guys, it's all good. And we will see you guys next week on Monday to talk about fantasy football games of the weekend, the Dolphins game. And we'll see you guys then.